Hi there! In this video I will show you how to digitalize your static stadium map into an interactive reservation system. You should be able to allow your users to navigate over different zones. You can see how the zone is changing color on hover. And then your users will be able to book tickets from an interactive seating chart. For example, they can select the zone, individual seats, and do the booking. Let's go to your Kenzap Cloud dashboard. Now, let's go to MyTicket, Layouts, and create our layout. Next, I need to upload the image of the layout. I'm simply dragging, dropping my image into the upload zone and waiting till the image is uploaded. Okay, we're done here. Now I can assign interactive zones and allocate seats. Make sure you are in the draw zone mode by clicking on the draw button from the top left corner of your screen. I will start with my top left zone of this layout. I'm simply clicking on the corner of the zone and navigating to another corner of the zone. I'm clicking again, again, and finally closing my zone. I can use edit mode in order to slightly adjust the zone. Here I moved a little bit up, and here I moved a little bit up as well. Well, now it looks perfect. Next, I can start allocating seats to this zone. I need to switch to the assign mode and then click on the same zone again. Now I have this pop-up window with additional parameters. Let me explain what it means. The zone label will be displayed, well, everywhere across the solution, regardless it's a PDF ticket, checkout fields, or a MyTicket scanner application. Well, let's click on Continue button. Here we can see the naked zone preview, and all your seats are allocated in the top left corner of your screen. I'm simply drag and dropping them one by one inside the zone. So it looks like quite a tedious job, but we have extra tools that can simplify this task. For example, if I would like to allocate first 15 seats in one row, I can use a special command for that. I'm clicking on the D on my keyboard and then typing 15, selecting the first and the last spot. And now I have a perfectly aligned row. I can continue the same operation to the next row. Well, once all of the rows are aligned, we can see that while the alignment between the seats in one particular row is perfect, alignment between the rows is not that good. Now I would like to realign the whole row based on my first and the last seat in this particular row. For example, I'm clicking on the last seat in the row and with the help of my keyboard arrow keys, slightly reallocating its position. Then I'm clicking on the A keyboard button and while still holding it, clicking on the first and the last seat in the row. And now all the other seats are reallocated based on the first and the last seat in the row. Well, now it looks way better than it was. Keep in mind this is an edge case, which means that some stadiums are not really perfectly aligned. They have slightly skewed zone design and the seats are not really allocated really evenly. This tool allows us to allocate our seats exactly the way we want it. It might be more simple if your zone is perfectly square. Then you simply use a grid aligner. You can install an additional extension in your browser and just hit row by row so that every row is perfectly aligned from the very beginning. Finally, we need to assign individual seat numbers to our seats. But before we begin, make sure that the seat numbering option is enabled. So what I do now is I'm clicking on the first seat in the row and assigning its row and seat number, well, in the top bar, as you can see right now. Then, instead of moving to the adjacent seat, I'm moving instead to the next row and its first seat. I'm continuing this step until I reach all rows in the zone. Note again, I'm assigning only the very first seat of each particular row. The price can remain empty, but if you would like to assign an individual price for this particular seat, you can do this here. Alright, now let's finish assigning all our seat numbers and rows. What I do right now is I'm simply clicking on the Q letter on my keyboard and then with the help of the mouse cursor, moving through all the row seat by seat till I reach the end of the row. You can see how rows are changing in colors. This means that the seat number and its rows are actually updated. I need to wait a little bit till the red color disappears. Then I move to the next row, clicking on the Q letter again and continue this operation to the next row. In such a way, I can automatically allocate the seat number and the row for each zone based on the first value of the seat provided in each row. And finally, in case you made some mistake and assigned seat numbering wrongly, do not worry. You can simply hit on Command Z on your keyboard to revert recent changes. Great! We now have our first zone perfectly aligned. I'm clicking on Apply button and we are back to our main layout. I can create new zones in the same way, but depending on your layout type, I would like to show you some additional useful operations. So when I'm clicking back to the edit mode and clicking on the zone, I can actually copy the zone by clicking on Ctrl+C on my keyboard. Now I have two identical zones with all the seats already allocated there. As you can see, I need to do some rotation operation in order to align my zone. I can click on Command J or U to realign my zone and rotate it according to my needs. I can also use my cursor arrows to move the zone around the layout, or click on Delete to remove it entirely. And now you can save your layout. Here's another useful configuration that I would like to show you. Instead of selling individual tickets, you can sell number of passes to a particular zone without any seat reservation, the way it is represented right now. So for example, I'm selecting 3 tickets and I can go and check out and buy these tickets. What happens in real life, this might be a fan zone where people are just come in to dance, they don't have any available seating options inside, or the seats might be unallocated, which means you can sell certain amount of tickets and people will find their seats without any reservation. I'm creating a new zone right now that will not have individual seat reservations, and in the number of passes, let's say I type 1000, hitting continue, apply, and save the layout. So now when users are selecting the zone, instead of selecting individual seat, they will simply need to select the number of passes for this particular zone. And finally, in some cases you may wish to sell individual zone, entire zone as a whole. In my layout, I'm having this tiny zone, which is a VIP section. So here the number of seats is set to 0, while the number of passes is set to 1. Keep in mind, it's not 0, not 2 or more, it's exactly 1. Continue and apply, saving changes. This will instruct your system to actually allow users reserve the entire zone. As you can see right now, when user hovering on this tiny zone and when he clicks on this zone, the zone is actually marked as reserved and I can go to checkout straight away. Alright, now you know how to create your custom seating chart for the stadium. The next thing you need to do is to actually create a listing where the seating chart is available for bookings. Please check the next guide that explains how to achieve this. And as for now, thank you for watching and I hope this guide was useful. As always, hit us like and subscribe to our channel and see you in the next video.